Hello, today I would like to talk again about something I experienced in Scout in Czechia, and it was a weird prohibition. The thing is, in a certain age or after certain time in Scout, person gets a nickname, and I mean an official nickname given to you by leaders. And on a trip, we were discussing that used to be a rule that when someone distorts someone's nickname, then the person can do with distorter anything he wants for a whole 10 minutes. Note, by distorting is meant when you change a letter or syllable to give it some meaning or without any, and then call the person this way, for example, changing Nancy to fancy. And do what you want is that you can order him to do the push-ups for the whole 10 minutes or something like that. We never really did that, but on a trip, Wendy and Theresa started to talk about that it would be nice to implement it and that we should do it. Maybe it's weird, but I was immediately against it. I feel a little bad for not really thinking about it before making an opinion, but it was really in a blink of eye. It sometimes works for me this way. I've already heard about it, but never really give it a thought, so maybe I already processed it in my subconsciousness, and then when I was seriously confronted with it, the result was just given to me. But in this way, I just seriously felt that it's not right, but didn't really have any arguments. And the moment I said I'm against it, the Wendy, Theresa, Roman, and Thomas were against me. As the conversation was progressing, I kind of lost my temper. I'm really ashamed of myself. Most of the time, I lose my temper when I'm frustrated. I hate when I have to argue or even just discuss with multiple people because as you are trying to answer to every person, you end up never really getting to your point. That makes me frustrated. So even discussions end up being arguments. I hate arguments. And I was defending my opinion. I couldn't really explain, at least not the way I can now. I'm bad in opinion speaking in general. I'm much better in writing in peace. And their arguments weren't really reasonable either. At least they didn't seem to me they really thought about it. From what I remember, most of what Roman was saying was distorting nicknames is just bad. And they were telling me that still it's a bad to call someone the way they don't like. With this one, I agree. So I asked, what's the difference from calling Christine Frog, how they do? They said it's different because it's completely new name for someone. I asked them, what if I don't like that Wendy is calling me sweetheart? They told me, then tell her that you don't like it. Eventually, I end up talking about something totally different. We end up totally different, and somehow it ended. Afterwards, I was talking with Thomas. At the end, he told me that it's mostly because of the tradition and that your official nickname is just something special, and that's it. I was thinking, I would acknowledge claim that calling someone the way they don't like is behavior deserving reprimand. And if it doesn't end by that, it deserves decent punishment. I would acknowledge claim that children should be educated to not bully. But that could be done just by a rule to not call people the way they dislike. The whole thing seemed to me hypocritical. I saw people distorting others' nicknames in friendly, teasing way. And still is Roman saying that it's just bad to distort. Like, it doesn't matter if you're hurting someone or not. Yes, if the person doesn't mind, then they wouldn't use the rule. Okay, but why it's not so bad to call someone by entirely new name? Isn't more important how much the person is hurt by the treatment than if it's about nickname or not? When I asked what if I dislike a nickname, sweetheart, they replied with, then tell it. Why didn't they say the same thing with distorting? It felt like they cared more about some unreasonable tradition than about raising children to not be harmful to each other.